Hello everyone and welcome to the Webydo's webinar, Rules of Responsiveness, How to Do It Right. I'm your host Yann Bohbot and I'm going to be teaching you on how to make a website completely responsive. Okay, so let's start. Before we actually make a website responsive, I would like to show you the website itself. I'm just going to simply publish it. Wonderful. Okay, so now you have a full functioning website. It's a very simple one-page website, and I'm going to scroll down a bit so you can see exactly what type of website we have. We have a lot of parallax and We have parallax animation in the website itself. We have a bunch of images, content, text, of course, fluid, adaptive, fit to width, shapes with it, an inside background, a background image inside, okay, and of course a footer, okay. And today, what we're going to do, we're going to prepare ourselves and make this whole page completely responsive. At the end of towards the end of the webinar, I'm going to give you a decent amount of time to ask questions, but you can always, like, in advance, prepare the questions and write it down, and I'll answer all of your questions towards the end of the webinar. Okay, so before we actually go into responsiveness and making a website responsive on tablets, on landscape, and mobile, we have a few rules that we need to follow. Okay, and once we follow the rules and we're finished preparing exactly everything that we did, now we can move on to making our page responsive in a simple with our simple tool called the automatic layout tool that we'll see very soon. That we'll review very soon. Okay, so rule number 1: know all your elements. It is extremely important that before you start making a website responsive, to know the elements of every page that you're using. In our case, okay, right here, I can name you exactly all the elements that I use, such as the menu here, for example. Okay, we have a huge banner here that is a shape, fit to width, and I added the background image. On top of it, I added another shape, okay, fit to width, same size exactly. I filled it with a color gray, and I changed the opacity to around 60%. On top of it, you see image elements. You see a nice title, a shape again, a button. About us is a text element, which is composed of a title and paragraph, okay, and of course the shape here. These are 3 images, and they have parallax effects. So as you can see, I'm naming exactly all the shapes, and I know them, by heart, and I know exactly what I used in my website, and now I can actually make it responsive. So this is rule number 1: knowing your elements. And on top of that, the secret of Webydo is basically knowing every element and knowing how to use them, when to use them, and how to use them. Rule number 2: understanding the breakpoints. What exactly are breakpoints? Where do you find them? Breakpoints are located exactly here, as you can see, at the center top of your page. So you have 4 breakpoints. You have the desktop version, the desktop breakpoint. You have the tablet breakpoint. You have also the landscape breakpoint and the mobile breakpoint. Okay, now the idea of those breakpoints, okay, I'm just going to go back very quickly, is this is a concept. It's understanding exactly what the breakpoints are. Okay, so of course, when I'm designing a website on desktop, exactly what happens to the tablet version? Every element that I add on my desktop obviously will reflect and will appear on the tablet version, on the landscape version, and on the mobile version. Now, let's say I'm designing, right now I'm skipping to the tablet version, okay, and this is a very important rule. Everything that I add on the tablet version, okay, will not appear on the desktop version, will not appear on the previous version, but it will appear on the next versions, which are the landscape and mobile. Of course, it's going to be on the current version because I'm working on the tablet. If, let's say, I am working on the landscape version and I'm adding or changing anything on the landscape version, it will automatically appear, of course, on the current version, which is the landscape, and on the next version, which is the mobile portrait. It will not appear, the changes that I did will not appear on previous versions. Right now, I just spoke to you about the landscape version. My elements, my changes are not appearing on the previous versions, which are the tablet version and the desktop version. So this is a very important rule, okay? Rule number 3. Don't add text in the text block. Certain elements, you cannot update them. You can update the style of those elements, but you cannot change the text that are inside the block. Okay? So inside those texts, let's say on my website, I have creative branding. If I'm working right now on the tablet version and I'm changing the creative branding to creative branding and web design, so automatically it will change the content of my desktop. You can change the style, meaning that on my desktop version, I can have creative branding in white, and on my tablet version, I can have creative branding in yellow, and I can make it smaller. That is possible, but do not add text or change text. Changing the text itself will affect all versions, okay? Adding text or changing the text itself, meaning changing the style, the design properties of the text, will not affect the previous versions. So this is rule number 3. Rule number 4, do not move elements to the footer, or do not move elements from the footer to above the content. So here, I'm going to go on my studio, just going to take off the guides very quickly. So again, you see on my footer that I have my elements. I do not move the elements that are inside the footer above the content line. And I'm not going to move the elements that are above the content line inside the footer. Okay, this is an important rule. And again, you need to understand, between the content line, what we see here, to the footer line is the footer itself. Whatever's above the content line is the whole website itself. Okay? Next. Rule number 5. Prepare everything. Like I told you from the beginning, it is extremely important to prepare everything. What I mean by that, right now we have on the desktop, we have a desktop version and we have certain sizes. And of course, on the tablet version, we want to change those sizes to become slightly smaller. And it's very important so that we can view the correct sizes on every version. Okay. Now let's start preparing everything. What do we actually want to prepare? Number 1, we need to note by how much we are reducing our image sizes. We're going to see that very soon. Number 2, something extremely important. We need to note by how much we are reducing our paragraph styles. Number 3, something extremely important about parallax animations. We need to use the function called duplicate and hide function. Okay, what is exactly duplicate and hide function? When we're going to reach our tablet version, we're going to duplicate all elements that have parallax animations, and we're going to hide the original ones from all the breakpoints except for the desktop version. This is called the duplicate and hide function. You can use it with me if you need more information about it. We're going to do that as I put parallax animation on 3 elements. Rule number 6, the mobile menu. What is exactly the mobile menu? The mobile menu, exactly, if you go here, when you drag and drop the mobile menu, you have kind of a default mobile menu, okay? But if you select this shape, for example, okay, this is actually a shape, and inside that shape, you have a background image. Okay, and what is the background image? It is the 3 lines that you see here. Okay, now remember that the background image is 42 by 42 pixels. I'm going to stop very soon. I'm just going to finish this presentation very quickly. Now, what is exactly the mobile menu? The mobile menu is composed of a PNG image. Why a PNG image? simply because PNG images have a background transparent background. Okay, it's important because if you save it as a JPEG, the whatever color background you have of the image, it will appear there. Okay, now I'm gonna give you guys a 5-minute break to ask questions. Up until now, what we're going to do, we're going to start planning our responsive website. So go ahead. Okay, we have an issue here. Okay, from Ricardo Martinez, I didn't get the duplicate parallax topic. Good. So we know that we could apply parallax animations on the desktop version, right? So we have a parallax animation on the desktop version. Now on responsiveness, when we're going to go on tablet, landscape, and mobile, the parallax animation will not work. Okay, and you cannot actually work with it. You need to manually move things around, and it's not that easy to deal with. Now, to fix that issue, we need to duplicate that element, which means that this parallax animation, you have control over it. Okay, you can take off the parallax animation and you can move it around. I'm speaking about the duplicated element. The original element that comes from the desktop, okay, you can hide it from all versions but the desktop, of course. And this is exactly what we're going to do. If you're still confused, just follow. This is exactly what we're going to do. You're gonna see how I do it, okay, and you're gonna understand it immediately. Okay, we have another question just to make sure. Are you guys going to have all the list of what to do? Yes, you are. At the end of the webinar, we're going to send an email follow-up just to make sure if some of you missed the first part of the webinar or anything, you're going to have a video of the webinar. You're also, I think, if I'm not mistaken, you're also going to get a presentation of the webinar, and you'll be able to follow all the steps that I'm doing right now with you guys. Okay? So we have 2 more minutes. If you guys have any questions regarding the plan that we're going to work on and making it responsive, go ahead, ask. Wonderful. So I guess that everybody's ready. Okay, cool. Planning. What is exactly planning? By the way, if you guys want to know where I took the template, it's important for us to know where we're taking those templates. These are PSD templates that I converted to a Webydo website. If you guys are interested in knowing how I did that and how I analyzed my PSD and converted to a Webydo website, our last webinar PSD to Webydo is available, so go ahead and check it out. Okay. All right, let's continue. So let's plan our responsive website. Planning. So by now, the most important thing that you need to have set up is your paragraph style. What I mean by that, right now, if I look here, I have set up my paragraph style. Every paragraph style, every content needs to have a paragraph style. Every text element has to have a paragraph style. For example, creative branding. If I double click inside, okay, it has this paragraph style. Okay. Now, if you're not sure, like myself, well, not like myself, but right now I just realized that there was a small plus here, okay, on my page title. This means that the paragraph style wasn't set. It is extremely important to have it set, okay? Now, just a quick overview on how to add paragraph styles. If let's say right now I selected 5 minutes, as you can see, 5 minutes has a paragraph style of a page title, but it's not actually a page title. I just changed its position. It's font size. If I change its font size and I'm not updating it, it's not going to update my paragraph style, and I need it. And you're going to see why it is so important to set everything as paragraph style. In this page, it's not that important because it was just a simple page to show you guys that we're starting in 5 minutes. Okay. Now here, for example, I changed my paragraph style to normal, and I change its font. Now just a quick look, you can add fonts from your computer by simply selecting Add Fonts, and you have a small pop-up window, and you can add Google Fonts, and you have a huge variety of Google Fonts. You can upload your own fonts from your computer. That's exactly what I did. Webydo, Fonts, SK Modernist. Okay, and you can also connect Typekit fonts from Adobe. And when it's done, I simply click on the save style and it overrides my previous style. Okay. So let's plan. So every font that I had a certain font size and line height. Paragraphs have font size and line height. Generally, okay, the rule is whatever font size you have, the alignment is minimum 4 pixels higher than the font size. So if my font size, like my paragraph, is 16 pixels, my line height has to be automatically 20 pixels, 16 plus 4. Okay, if you do it exactly 16 and line height is 16, you're going to have text that is cut off or text on top of text. Okay, so please make sure that the line height is always 4 pixels minimum higher than the font size. That your font alignment is 4 pixels higher than your font size. Sorry. Okay. So what exactly do I want to show you? I want to show you that my desktop, I have set my page title, my subtitle, and normal, which is my paragraph. My page title is 65 pixels. Okay, I only use it once. My titles are 24 pixels. My subtitles are 22 pixels. And my paragraphs are 16 pixels. Before I move it to tablet, you're going to see here in red, I marked down exactly the pixels. How do I know that I need to change pixels? Now, it's important that you guys understand that it's not that simple to know what's going to be the change in fonts that you're going to have to reduce. Okay, it really depends mostly on how you see your tablet, how you think your users will see the website on tablet mode. In this case, what I did, if you guys want to use, based on my research, what would be the most recommended percentage to take off of it, okay? So, for example, my page title is 65 pixels, okay? My tablet has to be 83% of this page title. That's why it's 54. Okay. My title is 24 pixels. Now it's 21. Okay. It's 89% of my desktop title. Here, as you can see, my subtitle is 22, and I changed it to 85, and my normal is 100%. And you're going to see that whether you're on tablet or landscape, you always want your paragraph to be visible, and on most devices, on all devices, the font size of a paragraph is always 16 pixels. If you feel that it's important to make it smaller, don't make it smaller than 14 pixels. Okay. So now what we're going to do, how to set this up. Okay. Now I'm starting my website. I'm inside my website. And what I'm going to do, I'm going to change to tablet portrait. Now, watch closely. Everything will stay in the same position, and all I need to do is simply move those elements, which I'm going to do later on. Okay? I'm inside the tablet. As you can see, all my elements did not move. Nothing. Nada. Okay? What I'm going to do, I'm going to simply, instead of double-clicking every time to every text and reduce the size, what I'm going to do, I'm going to use my paragraph style here under View. I'm going to click Paragraph Styles. And what did we say before? That my page title, let's go back. My page title has to be 54. So let's do this. Let's click on Page Title. Let's change it to 54. And my line height will be, obviously, 60. So every text that has a paragraph style of page title, this is what it's called, is going to be 54 on 60. Next, what do we have? We have my title. My title is 24 pixels, and I need to change it to 21. Let's go back. My title should be 24. It's 30. Sorry, I forgot to update it on my sheet. Okay, it's 30. 1 minute, please. So my title, my H2, is 30, and I need to have 89% of that, okay? $26.7. So let's say 27, okay? 27. As you can see, the about us has been reduced. And my line height will be 27 plus 4, 31. There you go. Everything is updated automatically. Now my subtitles, I'm not sure if I updated my subtitles. My subtitles are 22 on 26. That's good. I need to change it to 18. 22. And on what do we have left? We have the normal, which is 100%. Okay, cool. So as you can see, all my text has been changed. Okay. Now, what we're going to do, we're going to go on landscape and mobile. Landscape and mobile are exactly the same thing. Okay. Now, again, this is based on research. What we're going to do, we're going to reduce, when we're going to a mobile in general, we're reducing it by 44%. Okay, so 65 comes into 43. 24, in my case, it's going to be different. It's going to be from 30 because we're looking at the desktop. Okay, and we're going to make it from 24 to 18, a change of 74%, so 26% less. Okay, from 22, it's going to be 18, so a reduction of we're reducing it by 21, and normal 16, 16. Okay. So let's start. Let's go on mobile landscape, and let's start reducing. View, paragraph style, page title. So page title is 43. So 1 second, please. 43 on 47. As you can see, everything has been changed. Okay. So 74 times 30. We're going to change the title to around 22 on 26. Okay, it's generally 22.22, but we're reducing it to 22. Then we have subtitle by 79, so 18. Subtitle 18 on 20. So 18 on 22, and normal is 100%. Let's see exactly if we have the same thing here. Now 43 on 47. If you remember 22, yeah, it was 22 on 26, and then we have 18, and then we have 16. Perfect, so we're already set. Okay, next. Let's plan for images. Now, again, images, you can do it in many ways, okay? Generally, globally, I would say, when the desktop has when on the desktop the image has a certain size, on the tablet you reduce it by 40%. On the mobile, you reduce it by 60%. But again, you can still use images however you want. You can resize images however you want. It doesn't have to be, for example, a square. It could be anything. Basically, you can put it fit to width if you need to. Okay, it's basically your decision on how to style your website. Okay, just simply use your creativity. Okay, and lastly, before I actually make the website completely responsive very quickly, okay, we're going to use something called the automatic layout tool. Okay, as you can see, the automatic layout tool is next to your breakpoints. Okay, and before you use the automatic layout tool, let's see what are the Webby don't, okay? What you don't do with the automatic layout tool, okay? So number one, don't use it for full width images. Full width images are shape, fit to width, fill the background image. It's not going to work because it's already fit to the whole width of the layout itself, okay? Next, don't use it for fixed or parallax elements because, again, fixed and parallax elements won't work on the automatic layout tool, and parallax elements, don't have it on any responsive breakpoints. Okay, and of course, don't use it inside of forms when you're on landscape or mobile portrait. It doesn't work inside the form. It works as on the whole form itself, on the general form itself, on the element itself, but not inside the element. Okay, so when you're on landscape, since you need to resize all the fields and everything, it's important that you do it manually first. Okay, and then you can use it. You can use it on the whole element itself. Okay, so before we actually skip to here, let's make this responsive. So what did we say before? Before we said that we need to, number one, change my menu. Now, how do we change my menu? I want to take it out, but I don't want it to, I just simply want it to appear on the desktop. So all you need to do, basically, just a minute please, is go to your properties panel here by selecting the menu element, and you're going to see element visibility. Basically, what you're just saying that you want this element to be visible on desktop, but you don't want this element to be visible on any other breakpoint. So you just simply check it. No. And as you check, it disappears. You don't want it to appear on landscape, and you don't want it to appear on mobile. Voila. So the menu completely disappeared. What we're going to do right now is just simply drag and drop the mobile menu, which is composed of two elements. By clicking on the menu itself, you see, boom, I have two elements. Okay, I have the menu itself. When I click elsewhere, it disappeared. I just need to simply click inside of the shape here for the menu to appear, as you can see here. And what did we say before? We said before that this is a simple shape with a background image. So fill. I'm going to add the background image. Rules of responsiveness. Where's my nice looking menu? Oh, great. I need to design it. So let's do a quick design, if I'm not mistaken. There you go. So I've uploaded it, and of course, the color fill is a solid color. We just want none. As you can see here, this is my image. Now, of course, there's also a stroke. Just want to change, instead of type, solid, none. There you go. And now I can choose where I want to put it. And now this, I'm just going to drag it here. I can make it long if I want to center it, not a problem. All I need to do is click inside the menu and press center on the font. There you go. So every time I click here, there you go. I have it. Okay, if I want to change the font itself, because of course it's important to change font to keep your website in the same font. Escape Modernist. There you go. Okay. Now images. Okay. So on tablet we said that images will reduce it by 40%. So this image is 120 on 138. Generally, I would say change it based on the width. You can also change it based on the size. Okay, so 40, simple math, 40 times 120 divided by 100, 48. So 120 minus 48. Whoops, sorry. 72. This has to be 72, like this. Okay. Creative branding is already checked off, and you can also do it like this. And the Learn More button, you can keep it that way. All you need to do, simply select the element, and now I'm going to use the automatic layout tool, okay, that we said that It's really one-of-a-kind tool that allows you to easily reorder the layouts and sort the selected elements into a perfectly spaced column with a click of a button. Okay, what do we mean by that? Simply click on the selected element. To click on the selected element, all you need to do is select the first element, okay? Press and hold the Shift key and select the second element, third one, and fourth one. Basically what you're going to do, you're going to click on the automatic layout tool, and you're going to see here, you have a small browser window, which is kind of a preview of what your elements are going to do. Everything is based on columns. Right now we're looking at one column. If you want to separate these elements into two columns, these elements will look something like this. 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, if you want to separate it into 3 columns, you have a small preview of what it does right below. Okay, the advanced settings are actually very simple. It's just simply adding a small padding in between every element. Okay, the vertical padding, this is what I want to concentrate on, because I'm only looking at one element below another, so I'm looking at I'm looking at one column. Okay, all I need to do is change the vertical padding to 20. Okay, I chose 20, like this. So it literally recentered and reorganized all these elements. Of course, the Learn More button is always good to have it down. All you need to do is push this background image. Remember, I told you that the background image is composed of 2 shapes. One shape with 2 shapes fit to width, one with a background image, and one that I filled with a color. And basically, I just changed the opacity to 60. Okay, so height will be, let's say, 600. Of course, remember, keep the rules like I told you previously on images. You can, again, like I said, on certain images like that are full width, basically you make a decision whether or not on how big you want to resize it, how small you want to resize it. Okay, so about us, all you need to do, put the about us here, 1, 2, click automatic layout tool, done. Here in my case, and just to answer Ricardo's question about parallax animation, this is an element that has a parallax animation. Okay, this element will not work. The animation will not work. Sorry, I got cut off. I apologize. I did not realize. Can you all hear me? I just want to make sure this doesn't happen again. So I was saying that right now I'm looking at an element that has a parallax animation. Okay, and all I need to do, like I said previously, is simply duplicate it. Now that I duplicate it, now that I duplicate it, on the duplicated version only, I'm just going to put it below it. I'm going to remove the parallax animation. Now, it doesn't show. It should be. It's a very small glitch. All you need to do is just click here, and it's gone. Okay? So now the parallax animation doesn't work. This has parallax animation. What to do in this case? Simply go to Properties panel and hide it from all the visibility. Why? Because you only need this one, and you need to use the automatic layout tool. Let's do the same with the other elements. This has a parallax animation. I'm going to put it to my right. I'm going to duplicate it, and I'm going to remove the parallax animation here. It's removed. I can put it back, and I'm going to hide it from all my breakpoints except from my desktop visibility. Here again, I'm going to do it here. Duplicate version, remove it. 1, 2, 3. Again, every time that you duplicate an element, right now the element is selected, even though I removed it. If I want to bring it back, I bring it back. But as you can see, if I want to change any design properties, I need to go to desktop view, but not when I'm duplicating an element. Okay, inside. Within the layout, I can change basically whatever I want in the design panel and the properties panel. I have access to my design properties. Okay, so this is also an important note. So 110 on 110. And we said that we're reducing it by, if I'm not mistaken, by 40%. Okay. 1 minute. So we're looking at 40 divided by 100 minus 110. So this is going to be 66 pixels. So all I need to do is just click on all three elements and change it to 66 pixels like this. And what I'm going to do, I'm going to use the automatic layout tool, and I'm going to change to 3 column because these are one element next to another. Okay, so I'm looking at 3 columns because I can fit those images inside the tablet layout. What I'm going to do, I'm going to click on reorder layout, and voila. I'm going to do the same thing with my text, reorder layout, simple as that. Now we're going to have something that I wanted to show. Sorry, something that I wanted to show. Here we have a space in between my elements. Okay, what to do? Okay, this is something that I'm going to show you when I'm going to do landscape and mobile portrait. So I'm going to select here. Okay, when I want to make space and when I want to take space out. Okay, I'm going to use what we call drag all elements beneath this line. The drag all elements beneath this line will let me select the highest element here, and I can drag all the elements beneath, okay, and drag everything up. Simple as that. So portfolio, I'm going to make it 1 column. Now, in my case, as you can see, these are images that are kind of complicated, and I don't want to complicate things too much. Okay, I like to actually make them in 1 column. Okay, so again, I can decide exactly what I want to show on my responsiveness. Okay, so in this case, I'm not going to use the automatic layout tool because I have a way of doing it. Okay, and I can also use the snap to smart guides. As you can see, it snaps. I'm happy with it. Next, I have 3 images. You know what? I can actually fit those 3 images here because it actually resizes my 3 images so that it can fit on my layout. 3, and voila. If I want more padding between, so 20, you got it. Okay. So if this is 229, this should be 229 to make it more square. 229. 229, and of course all I need to do is drag all elements beneath this line, and voila, I'm done with my portfolio. Portfolio, again, looking at 1 element like this. Thanks to our partners, logos, you can keep them instead of resizing them. We're looking at 4 columns, okay, because these are 4 elements in 1 row, and I can actually fit them like this. Contact, okay, I did 4 elements. I want 1 column. I also have text here. And again, like I told you before, you can actually redesign the whole element itself. As you can see here, I cannot move anything. Again, if I move something inside, if let's say I'm moving the button, it's going to tell me inner elements are not affected. So again, it's always good to make it manually. And this, all I need to do is select all these 3 elements and click on reorder layout. Like this. 1, 2, 3. There you go. And now that you're done, all you need to do is activate tablet layout. Next, what I want to go over is landscape and portrait. Landscape and portrait is also very important. Now, the thing is, how do we normally see this layout? Most of the time, we see this layout in one column. Okay, we don't need to decide. I know that on the tablet, what we did, we worked on multiple columns inside my layout. But in this case, in landscape and portrait, how we see it, we see more websites that are organized in one column. So number one, what do I do when I have three elements? Like we saw before, we had three images and we also had three text elements. Text elements are composed of a title and a paragraph. That's why it's three elements in total. Okay, but let's say I have three. I have already one element after another, next to another. What do? I have more than one element. You group. We're going to see that very soon. Okay. Now, of course, like I said, how can I add space between elements without moving them one by one? I can easily drag the select elements and drag all elements beneath it down. Okay, like we just did before. Now, what elements are automatically responsive? Okay, most of them you're going to see that full width elements are any element that is that has a fit to width function that is under the position tab of the design panel. It's automatically responsive, such as the fluid grid, the 3D parallax, also hover effects. They're all completely responsive, and they're all also adaptive to all screen sizes. Blog is also automatically responsive, and of course our new e-commerce feature. Okay, so now what we're going to do before I get to that, we're going to make everything responsive. So let's start. Number one, all I need to do is select my elements and do this. Now, of course, the button should always be a bit more below than the rest of my branding. Okay. Now, of course, again, what I did before, I can move anywhere around. I just want to make this into two lines, 1, 2, and 3. Let's drag this here, and by dragging, whoops, let's click, and let's click here. Okay. Now, to make it perfectly well, okay, we see here that 100%. What is 100% of the layout here? It's 480 pixels. This means, I'm just going to delete that. This, instead of dragging it, I know it's 480 pixels, but let's say it was already like that. Most of the time I use my position to change its size 480 pixels and put it to my x equals 0 so that it's perfectly taking the whole width of my layout. Okay. Here, we're going to put 500 just to make sure. This also 500. So About Us is in the center. Again, I don't need to worry anymore about paragraphs. Okay. Now, when I mean by grouping, remember, whoops. What do I do when I have three elements? One element, second element, and third element. What am I going to do? I'm going to group them. Right-click, group. Select those two, right-click and group. Select those two, right-click and group. And now, instead of having multiple elements, I have only three elements. And all I need is to make space. So I'm going to move everything down. And I have space. All I need to do is select all three. And there you go. And just move this up. There you go. Now in these images, what I'm going to do, so let's be a bit creative here. We're going to group this. Can we group this? Yeah. Of course we can. And all of these will be only one column. Again, like I told you before, I'm mostly concentrating on one column So what size is that? 510. We're going to do 510. It's going to be changed automatically with my automatic layout tool. So number 1, 2, 3, 4. Again, with the shift key. 1 column. This is 240. I want to change this to 240. Like that. This is 510. 240. I just want to make sure 440. And let's redo this. So we see here that my elements kind of, I'm just going to ungroup this and select 2 columns. There you go. And then I'm going to select all the other elements. Oh, that's not what I wanted, but let's undo this by clicking undo. One column. There you go. Okay. Next, what do we have? We have our button here. We're going to move this up. Do we have any element? It's always good to know if we have any elements here. I know that I'm missing an element. There has to be, oh, there you go. It has to be bigger. This is kind of a way that I do things. Every time that I see a website, it has to have 2 types of colors in the background, one white and one something else. Okay, so here there's a different color which is very between white and very light gray. So it's always sectioned. I'm always seeing it in white and let's call it gray. So white, gray, white, gray, white, gray. And then I move those elements inside. Here, what I'm going to do, I'm just going to move everything up now. Okay, to be more precise, I'm going to select this element, put a guy here, and there you go. Thanks to our partners, is in the middle. Now, of course, here, I'm just going to move this down a bit. What I'm going to do, because these are also 2 shapes, I'm going to 250, 300. Okay, this is also 300. What I want here is just 2 columns. Oh, I see I need more than 300. Let's do 340. Okay, again, I am deciding by how much I'm changing it because I need to fit my 4 elements. So 2 elements here, and you got it. Next, I'm just going to ungroup this because the contact is grouped. I'd like to ungroup it so I can make it. Oh, again, undo. Oopsie. There you go. Now again, like I told you before, in regards to forms, what we're going to do, simply changing a few things. So the name and email, I'm just going to click on the grouped element here. Make sure it snaps to the guide. Put it right here and just make it smaller. Just to be sure that it's perfectly correct. It snaps. Good. Let's do the same thing here. Wonderful. And now it's perfect. And now I can use the automatic layout tool on the main element itself. This, reorder layout. It's always good to leave small space. And of course, this is getting, this is a bit, we usually don't put it here. So I would actually just take it off, okay? But it's always your decision. On tablet, it could work. But on landscape, I prefer not. just gonna, again, there you go. Now, just to make sure, I'm gonna do 4, and it's good. Wonderful, I'm done here. When I'm done, activate landscape mode. Let's do the mobile very quickly, and let's answer some questions. So here, what is the size? It's 320. So my menu should be 320. Like this. 1, 2, 3. There you go. Now, this is group. I always ungroup first just to make sure everything is okay. Then I regroup. Automatic layout, reorder. Simple as that. My portfolio element, let's drag it here. And in this case, what I want to do, all my elements will be in one column. 3, 4, 5, 6. What I'm going to do, I'm going to expand everything to width, just reorder the layout, like this. Now don't freak out. I'm going to simply make more space. I have a button here, just need to take it out. Take this out, take this out. Of course, I made too many space, which is basically what I actually wanted to show you. What happens if everything's a mess? Don't worry. Basically, what you need to do, in case when you go to to the mobile version and you see that everything is everywhere and you want to fix it, you don't know how to fix it, and you're stressing a bit, it happens. Okay, don't worry, it happens. What you actually need to do, number 1, move what's weird outside the layout. Okay, you see things inside of text. I see things here. I'm just going to move it outside the layout. Okay, what did I just do? There you go. Okay, second of all, sometimes you're going to see grouped elements. Okay, and inside that group you have an element that is really up high and the other element is really down low, and you don't know what to do. Simply, what's grouped, ungroup it, and then put it back together as one element. Now, then, if you feel that you're kind of like lost, just follow the same layout as your desktop. What needs to be on top, what needs to be in the middle, and what needs to be on the footer. And simply just put everything back together. Just because, don't worry about your elements. Your elements have not disappeared. The most efficient way to find your elements is simply by going to the layers panel. If I click on my content, okay, and I just simply click on a shape here, it's going to bring me, and it's going to select, by the way, it's going to select not only the shape, but it's going to bring me to the location of that shape. I'm going to press on shape 73, brought me here. If I want to press shape 38, this is shape 38, it's my banner. If I want to go to the ghost button 71, ghost button 71. And if I need to apply something to it without touching inside the layout, there you go, it's done. So it's always good if you're missing an element to go on your layers. So let's finish this. Let's make this in 2 columns because we can actually. Okay. And again, since okay, so as you can see, in this case we need to make things smaller. Okay, I counted 7, 12 on 12. Now don't worry, this field is required. The text that is inside of it is not going to be shown until the user will either put the wrong information that you're requesting, or won't put the information at all. There you go. What I need to do is, of course, you need to sort of resize it like that. Oh, I set it into 2 columns. I apologize. Let's undo this. Run it, please. It's going to be undone. There you go. And voila. And then I need more space. Now, sometimes you're going to see this like that. Just simply move the element. Or, there you go. This we're going to take. Just going to fit everything inside. Now, I also noticed a small issue here that we're going to fix right now. Is that this weird thing here, let's put it to here, and our partners, which is good. What are we looking at? Contact, there you go. Here you are. Let's move everything down. Let's move the shit here. We said 300. 300 is 300. And now that I'm done, activate and publish. And basically what we're going to do, we're simply going to have a look. Now, I want to stop my screen. Just a minute, because I want to resize everything and I don't want to show you firsthand. Now it's good. There you go. So this is my website. I'm going to scroll down, everything works. Parallax animations, everything is good. Perfect. Now, let's resize it, and as you can see, I'm going to slowly resize it, and it's going to jump into tablet mode. 3, 2, 1. There you go, tablet mode. Nice menu. Nice elements, everything is good and clear. Wonderful. Let's go back, and it's going to jump into landscape mode. Landscape mode, menu is good, menu is good. Everything is responsive. All my elements are responsive. Exactly like I've set them up. And that's also, again, now I'm on mobile portrait. And voila. Oh, I need to change that. So this is good. Oh, there it is. Let's put it right here. Now, this is basically everything you need to know about responsiveness. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to give you around 10 minutes to just simply ask questions. So go ahead, and I'm going to answer all your questions.